This is the greatest travel podcast in the universe. Most likely, 97th most listened to travel podcast in Canada. No big deal. 67th in Kazakhstan. It's just we're taking over the world. I just want you to know this is a long time coming. Not that it's only up from here. Tom Hurdle likes to say things go downhill from here, which maybe we can Google it, but downhill, I mean, it makes sense because it's like easier to go downhill, but then it's also, it sounds negative. Uphill will be harder, and only up from here. So we need to really figure out the etymology behind downhill from here, uphill from here. But that's not why we're here. We are here for why you need to go to Sayulita, Mexico. It is arguably one of my favorite places on earth. Not because it's the most beautiful, not because it's the most all these things, which it is beautiful. Also, Villa Amor is one of my favorite hotels on earth. But because it's just easy. Like if you just want an easy, simple trip from the US or Canada, it's that. It's affordable, quick. Obviously I'd rather probably go to Costa Rica, or I'd rather go to Bali, or I don't know, Vietnam. But if you got a short amount of time, it's a two and a half hour flight from LA or Phoenix. You can go from like your door at 8 a.m. and feet are in the sand at 1 p.m. Checked into the hotel, all that. I love it way more than Tulum. It's my favorite place in Mexico. We'll start there. Tulum I'm just out on anyways. It's turned into Vegas on the beach, which if that's what you want, cool. Obviously it's not Vegas on the beach. It's got a lot more art and there's everything else that I used to love about it, but now it's just overcrowded and takes forever to get anywhere. You have to take a taxi from, like, if you're staying at an Airbnb, that, as you know, if you've been, can take an hour and cost $50 a head. It's just ridiculous. So Sayulita, it's just simple. You fly 2.5 hours. It's a $40 Uber from the airport, and just affordability. Everything's so cheap. The people are incredible. It's very walkable. I think the walkability is what makes me love it so much. It's just, I've said it's like my favorite place to eat in the world. Top 5, 100%. And not like New York, I'm sure there's multiple better restaurants, or I don't know where else you can eat. Mexico City has tons of great food. Everywhere has great food, especially big cities. But in like a 3-4 block radius of just walking around, Sayulita, hands down. Like my favorite sandwich on earth, arguably, is there. Reuben's, bang. My favorite Mexican food on earth, Mary's. Beautiful. One of my favorite breakfast places on earth, Yaya's, or just Yaya. Stupendous. The best burger on earth. If you listen to my 17, no, there was some podcast we did about best fast food across America. Better than In-N-Out, better than Five Guys. The street burger, which from the grandma at Emiliano's, or there's a guy with a new baby, support the new family baby on the north side of the park. Either one of those, oh, it's just so greasy and so good. It's incredible. So try those. And there's like street juice where it's just fresh pressed juice. There's fresh fruit. Everything's so cheap. Like what you get for the quality or quantity of time and like just ease of life. So I was supposed to go for 4 days. I elongated it for 7 years, 7 days. And then I went 10 days. I just kept on staying and staying and staying and staying. Maybe it wasn't 10. It was 8 or 9. Regardless. It's also, if you want like a casual bachelorette or bachelor party spot, go there. It's, there's enough nightlife. There's a couple, 2-3 good, like nightclubby-ish, like they have DJs and good bars. There's a brewery. So on the weekends, you can definitely get, some good nightlife, some good dancing, all that kind of stuff. And then you can obviously go fishing. You can go on tours of the islands and snorkels and booze cruises. There's just, you can hike the beaches and through the jungle to secret beaches and caves and to San Pancho, to another little city. There's just so much you can do. It's a great place for surfing. The waves are really nice. So if you're a beginner or higher level, it's great surfing. Get out on the water. Obviously, you can paddleboard. You can do all the stuff you can do in Mexico, in terms of all the water stuff and more. Like I said, hike through the jungle. I love it. It's got the most I think to offer. There isn't like the temples, I guess, that the Mayan Riviera has or the cenotes, but the cenotes I used to love. Now they're just packed with a million people. And the ruins, yeah, it's kind of aside from Chichen Itza. Actually, the other one I went to was good too. I forget the name, but it's just packed with a billion people. Sayulita, I'm sure we'll get there at some point, but right now it's so walkable. The food, the restaurants, a lot of them are on like the cobblestone streets, which is just very quaint and just makes you feel like you're in a whole different world. I love it, like you're back in time or you're in Rome. It's got everything. I could go on and on. Let me touch base on some other things. You just go. If you want to, we're 6 minutes in. If you just want to turn it off and just say, "All right, I'm going to Sayulita," do that. But if you want some tips, let me give it to you. Also, take out pesos before you go. I still don't do this because it's just, I don't know. I never do it, but I always say to do it. Take out pesos before you go because they do railroad you on fees. It's like they'll charge you 5% or higher on your credit card at most places. 50% for sure, 33%, but I'm going to say 50% of places don't take credit card, probably even more. So it's always cash. And then the ATMs will charge you obscene amounts to withdraw. So there's an ATM at like a 15-minute walk out of the main town, but it still charges you a good amount of fees. So it's almost not worth the extra $4 that you get charged in town for the walk, if that makes sense. So time efficiency. But yeah, so if you can take out pesos before, do that. Everywhere takes US dollars, but then you'll get railroaded on the exchange rate because all the restaurants will give you 16-1. It's just, yeah, that's the only negative. Aside from that, all positives. Yeah, it's just, I love it. Go to my website, inspiredtravellead.com, and you can see the top 20 things to do. Like I said, there's the hike to the secret cave and the beaches. There's also turtle nesting there between like December and March or something like that. Mary's is one of my favorite restaurants on earth. There's incredible barbecue of just like open pits. You hike to San Pancho, which is like a little town next door. So it'll take you a couple hours to hike through because you'll want to stop at the private beach and go through the little cave. Which, how to find that cave? Go to inspiredtravellead.com, search Sayulita, you'll find it. But yeah, there's just so much to do. In Sayulita, there's fresh oysters on the beach. You can shuck those if they'll shuck them for you. It's great. There's a really pretty cemetery, which sounds weird. It's Playa de los Muertos is where the beach is. I assume the cemetery is called, I don't think it's called Los Muertos, but it's just on the left side of town or the south side of town. You just walk and you'll find it. Same thing with Carajitos, Playa Carajitos. You walk past Playa de los Muertos and you'll find it. Just stay close to the water. It's about a 15-minute little walk up and down a little road. And it's great. Beautiful beach, beautiful sand, very little people. I love it there. If you go to the north side, that's where you find the cave, and then the other private beach where there's not private, just secret beach where there's barely anyone ever there. You have it all to yourself, and it's much nicer, way better sand than like the actual beach in Sayulita. The only other negative, I guess, is I'd never like the Pacific side because the water is more pretty in Tulum when there isn't the 4 months of the year where seaweed is absolutely screwing it over. But yeah, if you want a quaint place, do that. Pamper yourself on the cheap. Like the spas are incredibly cheap, or just massages on the beach. It's like $35. So that's great. It's like half the price, 1/3 the price of back home. Yeah, there's the Mercado right in the middle of town. Most Mexican cities have it. This one's got everything you need. Very cool. They have fruit popsicles. Great little picture thing with like actually fruit embedded in. And yeah, a couple rooftop bars. Very cool. Villa Amor, like I said, my favorite hotel I've stayed at, or one of them. Love it. Playa Playa Malpaso. That's the beach that's on the north side. That's a good spot to visit. Aside from that, I'm just scrolling through to make sure I didn't forget anything. The street food's incredible. Said to go surfing. There's Flag Street. There's always street performers, so that's really cool. There's a brewery, which they'll have a DJ on Fridays and Saturdays, and it gets pretty busy. And you actually bring food from outside the street vendors and eat inside and drink their beer, which is cool. Jambach is the brewery. So that's a great little spot. You know, obviously have your drinks on a swing. There's some great little beach clubs with swings. Cheap, fresh fruit. Said that. Oh, you rent golf carts if you want and just cruise the streets on golf carts and go visit the town. It's not really necessary because unless you're staying in an Airbnb, that's a bit of a trek. Like I said, it's so walkable, but something you can always do. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You can go fishing, island hopping, yoga. There's tons of yoga. It's very artsy. And that's pretty much it. You have to go to Sayulita. Hopefully I sold you on it. It's only 11 minutes. So I didn't waste too much of your time. InspiredTravelLead.com, Fraser LeVay. This is the best travel podcast in the universe. Hopefully. And the 49th best in Sri Lanka. Probably. We hope. I'm sure it is. They're probably listening to us right now. They're probably going to say they already bought their flight. Everyone in Sri Lanka.